Hello and welcome to a special presentation from In the Money Media. We are here with our Race Lens preview of this year's Whitney Stakes. It's a show so popular. There are people and animals fighting to get into the studio to hear what we have to say. Fortunately, you on YouTube don't have to worry about that. You can just watch. Matt Vagvolgyi, Race Lens power user, is here with me. He's going to walk us through some of the statistics that he found as he went to look at this race. But I will encourage you straight away to subscribe to the In the Money YouTube channel. We are so close to getting to 10,000 subscribers and getting that creator award. Help us out. Do it right now and click that notification bell so you never miss any of our YouTube exclusive content. Matt, we're going to let you drive the train. We're going to look at a couple of the stats that you found, and then we're going to hear from our video sponsor, Race Lens, the tool with which you helped to find these. I'm going to go ahead and promote to the stage the first one. I thought this was a little bit interesting. You don't see that many races going farther than a mile with 10 or more horses, but talk us through what you found when you ran the stat about how these outside posts perform.
Yeah, I thought this one was interesting. And again, I think what we'll go through today is a good complement to all the great content you'll find in the Money Media with selections and kind of diving deep. But I took a look at more kind of broader sense. And I love these because we've talked before about tracking this stuff with post positions and seeing how it changes. You can actually set parameters of where the color changes when you're just scrolling through. So this one has been deep red since I've run it. And it's just interesting. I just throw that out there because I think there's going to be a few horses that are going to take some money that are posted 10 plus and, 0 for 5 at the meet so far. So like you said, not a huge sample, but looking over the last 5 years, not a single one have won. So 0 for 19 and just 2 of them have hit the board, including a big loss for me in the Belmont there. So we won't go there, but we'll just, only a couple of horses have hit the board there, Pete. And I thought this one was interesting when you're looking at it from a very broad sense. How have they done posted outside in these dirt routes? The answer is pretty easy, not very well.
It's a small sample, but boy, that 2 of 19 hitting the board does give a little bit of pause. Let's go to your next stat there, Matt. And I will just tease that at the end of the video, we will be getting to Matt's selection in the race. But let's roll through and take another look. And this is a funny one because this is something that happens when you use a product like Race Lens or anything that's going to be providing statistical information. You will sometimes find stats that are contradictory. We were just telling you about a big negative on post 11. Here's some very specific positives coming from post 11. And Arthur's Ride, a horse always well regarded, seemed to take such a big step up last out. What did you find here?
Yeah, I wanted to do these in tandem on purpose. If you're not buying the post position and saying the horse is good, they're going to do what they're going to do, then this stat might be for you here, right? Arthur's Ride is going to take post 11. This is where you can get very specific. So the last we were very broad with post position. This one you can get as specific as you like without trying to overfit. But I don't think this is overfitting. You're trying to find a run style that is lending itself to how I feel the track is playing so far this year. So dirt routes with an early run style, so wants to get to the lead, and also has the best early and late pace on an equibase scale. So you put all of that together for the meet so far. No, just 8 starters, but hitting at a nice clip of 38%. In the money is fantastic, 76%, but the ROI too, what that's telling you is some of these horses are being left out of it. So again, not a huge sample. We talked before. I love trying to value in some of these smaller samples. Even when you stretch out to the 5 years, though, a decent amount of starts. It's hard to find all of this to line up. But again, almost the same as what we're doing at the meet here, 39% wins with a 73% in the money and a positive 69% ROI. So some really good numbers here. If you're saying post position, forget it, Matt. I'm going with the horse itself. This might be a positive angle to take a look at.
And this is an interesting one to me because it speaks to the power of the data itself. Because what we're saying is like almost ipso facto, right? If you're fastest early and you're fastest late, you're supposed to win a lot. But you would think that would be so obvious that these horses would be so bad that you'd be looking at, maybe you'd have a high win, maybe you'd have a high in the money. But if it was so obvious to everybody in every form of data, you wouldn't have positive ROIs. So it speaks to the power of Race Lens and the way that they're looking at the world, that we can see these positives in there. Speaking of the power of Race Lens, there is a summer sale going on right now. You have the opportunity to get hundreds of dollars off the quarterly Race Lens plan. You can get it for only $99. Use the promo code SUMMER99R at checkout. Go to equibase.com. We also still have our big discount on the annual plan, where you also get a free year of In the Money Plus, which gives you a ton of extra content. If you want to learn more about that, I won't give all the particulars on that, but if you want to learn more about that, go to inthemoneypodcast.com/Race Lens. Matt, let's continue looking at some of the Race Lens stats that you came up with here. And this is one I'm deeply sympathetic to because I had used Race Lens before the meet. JK and I did a show about Saratoga angles to watch. I put trainer Phil Bauer on my trainers to watch list. Didn't take long for that angle to hit pay dirt. It was opening day when Warrior Johnny made that bold run up the rail to score at 9-1. He hasn't had a ton of starters since, but I know you're a Phil Bauer believer as well, and you've got the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, I just felt like it was possibly a trainer that's not necessarily a household name at Saratoga when you get to a race like this. I've obviously followed Phil Bauer all over the country. But I like to look for specifics, whether it's a jockey for a specific distance, just specific type of horse, track. Same thing with a trainer, right? Do they do things well, whether it's going a certain distance at a certain track, changing surfaces? Like I remember the Jonathan Wong angle going from turf to synthetic at Golden Gate was just enormous. So stuff like that, we're looking for specifics. And I found this with Phil Bauer, specifically going 1.1 miles on the dirt over 5 years. Again, not a ton of starters, 18 starts, but 33% of them winners. Hitting the board at a nice clip of 61% and a nice positive ROI of 58%. So again, it's telling me that there's some nice prices there. And it hits number 4 Warrior Johnny. We look at the Whitney on Saturday. So again, specific stat, but also always looking for something where a trainer could do something extremely well and may not be so obvious to the average player.
Yeah, he's a little bit interesting in here, I have to admit. We've got one more we're going to talk about before we get to your selection, Matt. We can go ahead and go to that now. And this is a great angle at Saratoga. I talked early in the meet about how Saratoga can be more of an angles meet than a fundamentals meet. And one of those angles that seems to change year to year is, where are the winners coming from? Are they coming from the Mid-Atlantic? Are they shipping in from Kentucky? Are they coming from downstate? Are they coming from the Jersey Shore? You pulled one to answer that last question.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it long term with that 5-year stat, kind of a ho-hum stat. ROI is not terrible at -9. But I like to have these particular angles built in where I can follow those throughout. It just shows up every single year. So you see the recency, like the angle we talked about before. And you look at it so far for the meet in 2024, 0 for 20, right? So they're not coming from the Jersey Shore this year. And you made a great point. If there's one thing that I would do with the Race Lens, if you're starting to use this and you want to look at Saratoga specifically, or even any other tracks, find where a lot of the horses are shipping in from and just run that simple angle and just let it be, right? And just follow that along to see how it progresses. Do they get better, right? Does it change mid-meet? Is it pretty bad the whole way, pretty good the whole way? I always found those general simple angles to keep live to be very helpful. And again, in 2024, we haven't had a winner yet from Monmouth.
Potential negative there on Bright Future in the Whitney. All right, Matt, time for the rubber to hit the road here in the last segment. Who is your pick to win this year's Whitney Stakes?
At this point, I'm incredibly boring. I think National Treasure is going to be extremely difficult to beat here. Again, I think the way this track has been playing certainly helps this horse, but I don't think this horse needs much help. Just was a big fan last time out. Answered the questions very easily. I think this horse is going to be forwardly placed and just has a ton of finish. I think it's going to be extremely difficult to beat National Treasure. Who knows? When as you go along, you continue to look. Maybe that pace profile changes. Maybe there's a late scratch that comes in that changes the complexion of the race. But looking at it right now, I think National Treasure is going to be extremely difficult to beat in the Whitney on Saturday.
he'll be the favorite, but hopefully for your sake, he'll be a backable favorite, and some ideas of horses to, maybe mix in exotics, that Phil Bauer idea, giving an extra look to Warrior Johnny. I know you, and you'll find a way to take even an opinion on a favorite and turn it into a way where you might be able to make some money. Matt, appreciate you coming on here. We remind folks to go to equibase.com, and you can use that promo code. Was it Summer 99R? Was that it? It was Summer 99R to get that quarterly discounted subscription. Or if you're interested in the annual where you get In the Money Plus, go to inthemoneypodcast.com/racelens. And once again, while you're here on the In the Money page, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us out immensely, helps us keep bringing this content to you. Matt, we'll be talking soon.
See you, Pete.